These cars weren't banned by accident. They were banned because manufacturers made them too capable for the roads and rules around them. Fabricated horsepower numbers, race car engines hidden in ordinary bodies, homologation specials that were barely street legal in the first place. Here are 11 cars that got too fast, too good, and too affordable for regulators to ignore. Number 11, 1999, 99 Nissan Skyline GTI-R R34. Long before Fast and Furious made it famous, governments were already working to keep this car off their roads. The R34 packed a 2.6-liter twin-turbo RB26 inline-6, officially rated at 276 horsepower, a number everyone in the industry knew was fiction. Real output was closer to 320 horsepower at the wheels, around 380 at the crank. Nissan stuck to the underreported figure to stay inside Japan's agreement, a voluntary cap meant to keep regulators from scrutinizing performance numbers too closely. What made it genuinely dangerous was the tech underneath: ATTSA, all-wheel drive, four-wheel steering, and a chassis computer redistributing traction faster than a human could react. 0 to 60 came in 4.6 seconds, pulling cleanly to an electronically limited 112 miles per hour. Nissan never officially sold it in America. Left-hand drive conversion and emissions crash compliance made the economics impossible. Buyers waited 2 decades for the 25-year import rule to open in 2024, by which point clean examples were already clearing 6 figures. It wasn't banned for recklessness, it was banned because it let an average driver embarrass cars worth 3 times as much. Number 10. 1998 Mitsubishi Lancer Evolution VGSR. The scariest thing about the Evo V wasn't its numbers, it was the body it came in. Built at the peak of Mitsubishi's World Rally Championship dominance, this was essentially a rally car wearing license plates. The 2.0-liter turbocharged 4G63 made 276 horsepower and 275 pounds of torque, paired with active yaw control all-wheel drive that distributed torque with software-level precision. 0 to 60 in 4.6 seconds, with cornering grip that demanded real skill. The problem, it came in a plain Lancer body, the same platform sold to families as an affordable commuter. No flared arches, no attention-grabbing badge, just a sedan that could disappear into any parking lot and come out of any corner faster than a Porsche. That invisibility is what regulators couldn't easily solve. Australia restricted it almost immediately. In the UK, insurance premiums for drivers under 25 hit £18,000 a year, when insurers would even quote it at all. New Zealand followed suit, and even in Japan, police specifically targeted modified Evos during the street racing crackdowns of the late 90s.
Number 9 1994 Mazda RX-7 FD3S Bathurst.
Mazda built exactly 350 of these, and enough to qualify for one race, and win it. The RX-7 was already a respected sports car before the Bathurst edition existed, with its rotary engine producing a sound unlike anything else on 4 wheels. But the Type R Bathurst wasn't built for the street. It was a homologation special made specifically to qualify for the 1994 Bathurst 12-hour. Officially rated at 252 horsepower, dyno testing on unmodified cars showed closer to 280. Mazda stripped weight everywhere possible: thinner glass, no rear wiper, lighter wheels, and ran a suspension setup essentially lifted straight from the track. 0 to 60 came in under 5 seconds, with cornering precision experienced drivers called surgical. Australia, the only official market, restricted it almost immediately. Insurers looked at the rotary engine's known fragility under sustained boost, plus its ties to street racing culture, and declined coverage entirely for drivers under 30. It received an official U.S. import.
Number 8 a Euro 1990 Nissan 300ZX Twin Turbo. Nobody saw this one coming, because it didn't look like a threat. The 300ZX Twin Turbo carried itself like a Grand Tourer a Euro, smooth, composed, more hotel valet than track day.
Underneath sat a 3.0-liter twin-turbo V6 making 300 horsepower and 283 pounds of torque, numbers that made supercar makers uncomfortable in 1990. Ferrari's entry-level model that year made less. 0 to 60 came in 5 seconds, delivered with a composure that unsettled drivers expecting more drama. Regulators and insurers across Australia and Europe flagged it. UK licensing boards added it to restricted categories, and younger drivers were refused coverage outright. Nissan, already dealing with reliability complaints on the twin-turbo system, didn't fight the reputation, they let it quietly fade. For a brief window, sports cars costing double had to take it seriously, and authorities had no choice but to do the same. Number 7. 1995 Toyota Celica GT4 ST205. Every other car on this list was banned from the road. This one was banned for motorsport first, and the story behind it is one of the boldest things a manufacturer has pulled in front of a governing body. Toyota entered the 1995 WRC season meeting dominance, and the ST205 Celica GT-4 was built to deliver it. A 2.0-liter turbo 3S-GT making 252 horsepower, with an all-wheel drive system and super strut suspension pulled directly from the rally program. Mid-season FIA inspectors found a turbo restrictor bypass machined and hidden, with such precision that investigators initially questioned whether it was deliberate. It wasn't. The device let the engine exceed regulated boost by a wide margin, producing power no legal rival could match. Officials called it the most sophisticated rules violation in the sport's history. Toyota called it a manufacturing error. The FIA handed down a 12-month WRC ban. The road cars themselves were completely legal and had nothing to do with the device. It didn't matter. Insurance premiums climbed on ST205s that had never seen a rally stage, and Australia and New Zealand restricted provisional drivers from ownership despite the road car's modest real-world performance. Number 6. 1997 Subaru Impreza 22BSTI. Subaru built 400 of these worldwide to mark their WRC title and 40th anniversary. 400 was still too many for regulators to ignore. The 22B wasn't a marketing trim. It was a full reconstruction of the Impreza platform by engineers straight out of WRC development. Wider bodywork with fender flares that actually covered a wider track. A coupe roofline never used on any other Impreza. Gold BBS wheels and a stroked 2.2-liter turbocharged flat 4, officially rated at 266 horsepower. Built by people who knew exactly how conservative that figure was. Suspension and all-wheel drive architecture came straight from rally development. At 2,580 pounds, it hit 60 miles per hour in under 5 seconds and changed direction with an authority that made experienced test drivers go quiet. UK imported 22Bs carried insurance premiums above £15,000 a year for drivers under 30. Australia banned provisional license holders outright. In the US, the 25-year import rule kept them out until 2022, by which point prices had already passed $200,000, with some clearing significantly more. Subaru built 400 cars. Governments on 3 continents decided that was still worth legislating against. Number 5. 1999 Honda Civic Type R EK9. No turbo, no all-wheel drive, no launch control, no electronic safety net between the driver and their own decisions, and somehow Honda still built something that landed on the same ban lists as turbocharged rally homologations. While Mitsubishi and Subaru were transplanting rally tech into road cars, Honda went the other direction entirely. Strip a lightweight Civic hatchback of anything non-essential. Then install a hand-assembled 1.6-liter B16B revving to 8,400 RPM and producing 182 horsepower with zero forced induction. Honda built it for Japan only. The UK imported thousands anyway through the early 2000s, and the EK9 became the centerpiece of the street racing scene almost overnight. Police began targeting it specifically, insurers refused younger applicants outright, and theft rates climbed as the Type R badge became a symbol tied to a dangerous scene. Australia restricted it, and the US kept gray market units out through emissions non-compliance. Honda built the perfect driver's car. Street culture turned it into a statistic. Number 4. 2002 Nissan Steyr 260 RSA station wagon. 4 doors, a long roofline, room for a week's worth of luggage, and the exact same engine as the R34 Skyline GTR. Nissan built it, put it in showrooms, and more or less waited to see what happened. The Stagea 260RS came out of Autech, Nissan's in-house performance division, fitting the same underreported RB260ET, officially 276PHE, into a family estate, alongside ATTE, all-wheel drive, upgraded brakes, a reinforced transmission, and rally-tuned suspension geometry, all wrapped in a body that looked like the school run. The street racing world figured out what it was within weeks of the first gray market imports, recognizing that the platform had identical tuning potential to the Skyline. Once that spread, regulators started paying attention to a car they hadn't originally bothered classifying. Australia added it to its high-performance restriction list. Nissan built roughly 2,500 units, all through Autech, exclusively for Japan, none of it marketed as performance, a car engineered to be invisible, until authorities created a new category just for it. Number 3. 1998 Mitsubishi FTO GPX. Almost nobody outside Japan knows this car. Inside insurance databases across the English-speaking world, it has its own dedicated risk category. Built to rival the Integra Type R and Honda Prelude, the FTO GPX ran a 2.0-liter MVX V6, one of the smallest V6 layouts ever fitted to a production car, producing 197 horsepower and revving to 8,000 RPM, with a sound that reportedly stopped pedestrians in their tracks. Front-wheel drive, but equipped with a viscous limited-slip differential, four-wheel discs, and steering precise enough to make the chassis behave better than its layout should have allowed. 0 to 60 came in 6.8 seconds, a number that undersold how the car actually felt, building speed progressively enough to feel far quicker than the stopwatch suggested. Mitsubishi never exported it officially, but thousands reached the UK through grey market channels. Ireland recorded it as one of the most frequently crash-involved sports cars during its peak import years. Australia placed it under monitoring, and New Zealand restricted provisional drivers, a brilliant, affordable driver's car landing in a market without the infrastructure to handle it responsibly. Number 2. 1994 Nissan Pulsar GTI-R. Nissan built this purely to satisfy a rulebook and created something authorities took years to fully understand because it looked so completely ordinary that nobody thought to look closer until it was already everywhere. Group A rallying required a minimum production run of 5,000 road-going units, so Nissan built exactly 5,000, fitted with a 2.0-liter turbocharged SR20 making 227 horsepower and 206 pounds of torque, plus an all-wheel drive system borrowed from the Skyline GTR's ATESA architecture. At 2,580 pounds, it hit 60 miles per hour in 5.4 seconds, wearing the body of the cheapest Nissan in the showroom. Badged as a standard Pulsar, it drew zero attention from police or other drivers, the automotive equivalent of a weapon hiding in plain sight. Tuners quickly found the SR20 responded dramatically to basic modifications, turning an already quick car into something that had no business existing at its price point. The UK imported it heavily, and insurers responded with premium hikes that made ownership nearly impossible under 30. Australia and New Zealand placed it alongside the Evo and Skyline on restricted lists, a remarkable distinction for a car built on an economy car platform. Number 1 on 2,999, Nissan Skyline GTR V-Spec 2 N1. Every car on this list was banned for being too fast for public roads. This one was banned because it was never really meant to be a road car in the first place. The V-Spec 2 N1 wasn't built for enthusiasts or collectors, it was built for endurance racing, with Nissan producing only the bare minimum needed for homologation, but no one is built for 2 months that fall out. The rest barely different from those. The RB26 in the N1 was blueprinted and balanced at the factory, not tuned or modified afterward, but built from the ground up with reinforced interns, a race-grade oil system, and a clutch that made no attempt to disguise its purpose. The official rating stayed at 276 horsepower, but here, that number wasn't an understatement. It was a different category of fiction entirely. The factory built these engines to sustain over 600 horsepower with minimal further work. The interior had been stripped bare, no radio, no air conditioning, no sound deadening anywhere. Suspension was stiffer than the standard V-Spec, brakes were larger, and anything that existed purely for comfort had been removed. No Western emissions standard could process it, and no insurer could meaningfully price it. In Australia, grey market N1s that cleared customs were flagged on arrival and banned from road use, based purely on their build spec. The UK designated them track-only. In the US, even with the 25-year import window now open, most remain off public roads permanently due to missing original compliance documentation. 11 cars. 11 very different reasons. Fabricated horsepower, homologation loopholes, engines too honest for the bodies they came in. What they all share is the same outcome. Manufacturers built exactly what they wanted, and regulators spent decades trying to catch up.